Debt, fear, relationships, the children, your health, work. When you want to give up and you need courage to continue, take heart and stay tuned as RJ Jackson writes her signature message of hope on your heart. You don't have to live where you're dying, and you don't have to die where you're living. Like every show of Conversations on Courage, you'll be informed, inspired, and encouraged to find the courage you need to succeed at home, work, and in your business. Get your pen and paper. You'll want to take notes. And now, your host, RJ Jackson, the Courage Giver.
Hello, beautiful. I'm your friend, RJ Jackson, your master encourager, accountability coach, speaker for your next event, and your down-to-earth, I'm listening, tell it like it is, I love you, girl, friend. Yep, that's me. Welcome to the conversation. This is a show for women who dare to be bold and courageous, women who live life unapologetically. This is a show where you can find the courage you need in order to succeed. This is episode 1 of Conversations on Courage. It's the one you'll want to listen to over and over again. It's the one you'll share with your friends. Matter of fact, go ahead. Why don't you do that right now? Why don't you show your sister friend that you care about her and you want her to succeed? Go ahead and share the show by hitting the share button right now. After all, sharing is caring. On today's show, we promise to fill your cup with courage one sip at a time. We're going to provide you with success strategies, inspiration, and purposeful conversation. What else are we going to do while we're together? Well, we're going to respond to your questions. You know, the ones you had the courage to ask out loud on our Facebook group. Girl, I'm working on it too. Oh, and by the way, if you're new and you're not a part of our group, we invite you to join us today on Facebook, where you will find a safe place to be you, authentically you, and meaningful relationships with women just like you. We'll also share in your story, and we will provide you with a life-giving experience. Today's show is designed with entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, and business owners in mind. It is designed to help you stop playing it safe, level up in your business so that you can reach your ideal clients. You're on a mission with a big message to share through your business. If you're ready to take action and get outside of your comfort zone and be held accountable to your greatness, if you want to make more money in your business, or if you're frustrated because you keep attracting people who say they simply can't afford your fees, you feel like you're spinning your wheels and wasting your time, you're tired of struggling, overthinking, second-guessing, and having self-doubt, now is your time to rise and manifest God's will in your life and in your business. Join me in welcoming the CEO and founder of The Best Career for Me, Power and Soul at Work, business coach and mentor, Althea McIntyre. Althea, welcome to the table, beautiful.
Thank you for having me, RJ. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. I know it's going to be a delightful conversation. I can't wait to have you share. I got my pen and paper ready myself to take some notes. So let's just go ahead and dive in. I want to hear your story. We forget that our story helped get us where we are, and it's purposeful. So what's your story, beautiful?
No, my story is really a story of walking with God and trusting Him. after years of disobedience. So I started working as a career and executive coach after working as a CPA. And early in that role and as a new entrepreneur, the Lord told me to pivot my business, RJ. He told me to serve Christian business owners, Christian entrepreneurs, and leaders as a business coach and mentor. And I was afraid. I didn't feel qualified. I didn't feel ready. I had a lot of doubt. And so I looked on in the marketplace, and the business coaches I saw were ones with strong marketing background and corporate sales background. And even though I was a CPA, I didn't feel like I was ready. And so I didn't pivot my business. And I didn't wait to do that for a year or 2 years. It was about 7 years where I was in disobedience, and I suffered all the costs of being in disobedience. I often say I was stressed, depressed, and all the rest, until one day I just had to surrender, and I put my business on hold, and I finally found the courage through support of another coach and through therapy to move and align my business with God's will and pivot to become a business coach now and serving the clients that I serve now.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you heard the question because I said, tell me your story, and I know you're telling my story and her story and her story and her story, and all of our story as women, how God has called us to do something, and we not only are disobedient, but we are afraid. Wow. You know what's so amazing about your story? It is our story. And often as women, we think, oh, it's just me. I'm the only one.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So tell me, 7 years walking in fear. That's like being in prison, right?
Oh, my God. You know, when you emphasize it, yes, it's 7 years. You know, we might as well say it's bondage. You know, what happens when you are in disobedience, the fear magnifies. So, for instance, I had a fear of rejection, but in those 7 years, the fear of rejection and hearing no magnified. And it went outside of the business realm to the personal realm. So if someone said, if I invited a friend to do something and they said, oh, Althea, today doesn't work, I didn't hear, I would love to, today doesn't work, let's do it another time. I heard no. And I never would ask that person to do something again. So things get distorted. And you lose sight of who you are. And it affects you emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, relationally. It being in bondage, in the bondage of fear and self-doubt, it touches every aspect of your life.
And it's amazing how rejection is at the root of fear.
Oh, wow. Yes. Yes. You know, I can say this because I know many women, and as I help my clients in the area of sales and closing more sales and enrolling high-level clients, you know, so many women are afraid to ask for the business because of the fear of hearing no, the fear of being rejected. And, you know, I've been there, done that, went to the conference, led the conference. And the thing is, rejection or someone saying no to our offer, it is nothing to do with us. It's not personal at all. At all, period. It's nothing to do with us, period. And that's the first area that the mind shift that needs to happen if for women who are struggling with the fear of rejection and the fear of hearing no, and I'm speaking specifically to our entrepreneurs and business owners, no to one of our offers, our services, our books, our clothing, it has nothing to do with you personally.
It's actually the person who's saying no, it's actually their fear speaking up.
Yes, it's a reflection. There's many things. It's a reflection of their fear. It's a reflection of them saying no to what God has told them to do. It's a reflection of them saying no to their dreams and desires. And on the other side, it could be feedback. I mean, I have had where clients are saying, no, Althea, I'm not interested in a 6-week workshop. I want to work with you one-on-one in a 6-month program. So sometimes it's just feedback, okay?
That's
just feedback, and that's why you can explore, and you should explore the no. What are you really saying no to? And then you can distinguish, is it them saying no to their own fears and their own doubts, or is it really them saying no to what you're offering? But yes, I do want to work with you, but in a different capacity.
Good stuff. So 7 years, you decided, you know what, everything I need is inside of me, so let me just step up my game, put on my courage, and get to stepping in the direction that God has me to go. What did you learn from your 7 years of being held hostage by fear? Mm-hmm. And what did you learn from your yes? Yes, Lord, I surrender.
Well, one of the things I learned from being in bondage, God has already told us what we should do. For those of us who journal, and I say this strongly, I dare you to go back to some of your journals from 3 years, 4 years, 5 years ago. And the reason I know mine was a 7-year stretch is because I went back to one of my journalings with God, my vision story, and it was right there. So God had already told me the pivot I needed to make and who I needed to serve. But when you're, so that's the number one lesson. For some people, I would say, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Well, what did God tell you? Look back at your journals, because He's already, revealed that to us. He's not a God of confusion. That's number one, what I've learned. And the other thing that I would say I learned is, and it's just coming as I think about you, you really have to surround yourself with the right people. Women of faith, women who are bold and courageous, women who are aligning themselves and doing the work that God called them to be, because when you are weak and not feeling strong, not only will God provide that strength, but you can look to others, and they'll encourage you, and then they'll remind you, RJ, that, no, you're not alone. Like, no, that happened to me too, because what is personal is universal, but the enemy likes to make us feel like it only happens to us, and we live in isolation, and we stay stuck in bondage, the bondage of fear and self-doubt.
I told you, ladies, this was going to be finger-licking good. I hope that you are taking notes, not just on your paper, but certainly on your heart. It's not personal. It's universal. Wow, what a good word. So let's talk about, Althea, let's talk about that challenge you just put out there for women to go back if they journal. And what about the woman who's saying and thinking, I'm not going back. Ooh, that was painful. That was too hard. I'm trying to make it through the day. What would you say to encourage her to have the courage to go back and look over what God has done in her life?
Well, the truth of the matter is we usually journal when we are in good spirits, not when we're in feeling down. So when you look back at your journal, you're journaling First of all, it's going to remind you of how good God is and how much he loves you, because you're going to start to see themes and patterns, and you're going to also start to see revelations, things that have manifested that you're like, oh my gosh, I dreamed about that, I didn't know. For me, for an example, in that 7-year, when I look back at it, was a long vision story, and it said that I desired to be a member of a church's praise dance team, and I wanted to have a strong church family. And when I looked at it then, I had just joined my praise dance family. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that desire had been on my heart for so long. I had forgotten that. So it's actually going to be something of encouragement and a reminder of God's love. And you may find yourself just overwhelmed with tears of joy of how patient he has been.
You're listening to Conversations on Courage with your host, RJ Jackson, the Courage Giver. Quick, call your friends and invite them to listen in.
Looking back reminds me of driving a car. You drive looking forward, but every now and then, you better check that rearview mirror.
RJ, you made a good point, because you may look back and say, oh my gosh, I've been like the children of Israel wandering for 40 years, and it could have taken me 11 days. That may happen. That's the point to say I can get it right now. And that can actually be motivation and fuel of, okay, these habits and this mindset has to end now, because I don't have any more time to waste. I don't want to be wandering for another 40 years.
Ooh, isn't that the truth? We want to do what's important. We want to, as you say in some of the verbiage I noticed as I visit your website, we want to make an impact, not just an income, but an impact. So let's talk about that, because now really is the time for us to do what we've been called to do. And as business women, as entrepreneurs, we're in business to make income, that's for sure. But at the end of the day, we want to make an impact. Tell me about those two words, why they're important, and how can we integrate them into our daily routine?
I love that, because we shouldn't see them as separate. They go together. And know that for you to make a greater impact, it does include you making an income. If you're someone who's been giving away your services for free, you've been discounting your services automatically, you've been afraid to ask for the business, it's having a toll on you. It's creating a stressor in your life. And if you're married, it's definitely creating a stressor in your relationship. So the day is now to make a decision that I am going to bring in the income, because God created me to have the power to create wealth, and his promise to me was to be wealthy. We have John 10:10. We have everything he touches prospers, Psalms 1. So we have scripture that reflects that. But most importantly, I know the women who are listening here, because my clients tell me, that God has told them specifically that they were created to make and impact millions. And you're not doing anyone justice by not stepping up and doing what you need to do to manifest God's promise to you.
Call them out, girl. And listen, we're not calling out your stuff. We're calling you out and up to your greatness. Answer the call so that you can make an income and an impact. I love how you stated, Althea, that now is the time. Sometimes we're like, we're going to wait until the new year. We're going to wait until I get a new website. But now.
Now. Here's the thing. I'm going to call this out too. There's so much emphasis on marketing, and that's good and dandy. But many women need to learn how to sell, how to lead a sales conversation, how to reach out to an ideal prospect, how to overcome time and money objections, how to follow up without feeling or being pushy or pesty. So if you know that that's a gap, a skill gap, because it is a skill, then you need to invest in the training and development in whatever form is going to serve you best, whether that's a coach, whether that's a workshop, whether that's a conference, whatever, or all of the above, to make the income that reflects, again, God's promise to you.
So as a business coach and mentor, I know you have personally helped me make some changes in my business. How do you help other women make changes, and what's one general step that most of us overlook that we can actually put into practice and start right now?
Yeah. Here's two things that most women entrepreneurs overlook. Number one, focus on one ideal client. You're serving one client and helping them solve one problem. And saying I work with women, that's not one client. So you need to niche. And there's a common fear that, if I get too small, I'm losing money. That's a lie. If you market and sell to everyone, you'll market and sell to no one. So number one mistake, one client, what type of client, and what's the one problem you solve. For example, for me, I work with Christ-centered female coaches, consultants, and experts, and I help them stop leaving money on the table, close more sales, and make more money in their business. The second thing is that we, particularly those who are upbeat and positive and love having a positive impact in the world, is we're afraid to press into the pain points that our ideal clients are experiencing right now in our marketing and sales. Ladies, people are motivated to invest based on pain, right? So just think of if you're experiencing some type of body pain, if it's not too bad, you may not call the doctor. Like, I'll just figure out. When that pain gets so severe where you can't, wake up, sleep, you're calling the doctor and you're like, I need to see you right away, right? You're motivated to take action when it's so severe. And so we are not doing anyone justice when we know our clients are in severe pain, but they've been masking it or masquerading it, and we don't press into the pain that they're experiencing and let them know that with our services and our products, we can help them alleviate that pain. So those are two things that you need to change if you're not already doing. And what I love helping my clients and do when I do is, the bottom line is become the business leader God created them to be. So I help my clients with gaining clarity of who their ideal clients are. I help them with creating services that their clients are ready to invest in now, and then how to sell in a way that's authentic, that feels like a natural extension of who they are, that selling is no different than when they're coaching, when they're teaching, when they're training, and providing expert services. So they do close more sales and make more money in their businesses.
And if someone's listening right now and they're really ready, wanting, and needing to hire a business coach and mentor, how can they connect with you?
They can go straight to my website, thebestcareerforme.com. That's all spelled out in words. Thebestcareerforme.com. And contact me there, and then we can have a conversation.
And if you missed it, you can always find that information on our website at conversationsoncourage.com. That's conversationsoncourage.com. You have filled our cup, girl. I just got to say, it's overflowing. And me personally, I'm ready to go and look back at where I've come from and make some conscious decisions on where I'm going in my business and in my personal life, just as a result of this conversation. Leave us, if you will, with a word of courage that we can take for the rest of our day.
Let's go to Joshua, be bold and of good courage, because your God is with you.
And that's what he commanded us to do, to be bold and courageous. Whew. Thank you, beautiful.
Thank
Sitting
you.
at the table. It's been our pleasure. It's been our pleasure. Thank you for sitting at the table and gracing us with your awesomeness. When I say she's awesome, girl, I'm talking about you.
Thank you, RJ.
Well, just like we promised you, another epic conversation on courage. We want to thank our guest, Althea McIntyre, business coach and mentor, for being with us today, sitting at the table and sharing with us how to grow our business. In the words of Zig Ziglar, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, expect to win. And if you're finding it difficult to do that, then we invite you to contact Althea today. Let her walk with you and journey with you on your road to the greatness that God already has for you. I want to personally say thank you for being the most valuable part of Conversation on Courage. Thank you for being our very special guest today. We know that we're nothing without you, and there's so many other things you could have been doing, so we thank you for your time. We certainly hope you will join us again on the next time right here on Conversations on Courage. I'm your host, RJ Jackson, the Courage Giver, and I'd love to continue the conversation with you. Invite you to connect with me at thecouragegiver.com. That's thecouragegiver.com. It would be my pleasure to walk alongside of you and remind you that you don't have to live where you're dying, and you certainly don't have to die where you're living. Until next week, keep up your courage and stay blessed indeed.
Thank you for joining us for Conversations on Courage. Now that you've been inspired, informed, and encouraged, it's time for you to take action. So head on over to thecouragegiver.com. That's thecouragegiver.com, and connect with RJ for a personal conversation on courage. She's waiting to help you take the risk you need to succeed.